Good morning. It is Monday, September 7th, 2020. You can now relax and be informed. Here is your daily bite of news. Southern California sees a record 121-degree temperature in Los Angeles. In the Sierra National Forest, 200 people found themselves trapped in their campground by the growing creek fire, walled in on all sides by flames. They were initially told to shelter in place until help could evacuate them. Several reported the heat and smoke was so bad that they had to splash water from the reservoir onto their heads to avoid their hair catching fire. Black Hawk and Chinook military helicopters eventually made it to rescue those trapped. 20 were injured with burns and broken bones. As college campuses open for fall semesters, COVID infections are noticeably increasing in counties where students comprise 10% of the population as opposed to other counties. Colleges and local communities are trying to balance their need for economic dependence on student spending and their public health. Enrollment for fall 2020 is at a huge decline already, and college budgets are millions short of what was expected. Local businesses are hoping for the boost to the economy since hard hit in April, but are wary of the infection spreading. Colleges are cutting spectator sports like college football in order to help keep crowds from descending into local communities. They are also enforcing social distancing rules on campus and in dorm rooms, sometimes quarantining whole classes or dormitories for weeks. Despite the surge in cases, though, there have been no surges in the deaths on campuses, at least yet. A search is underway in Birmingham, England, for a man who carried out a series of stabbings, leaving 1 dead and 7 injured. The stabbings seem to have been done at random and are not the work of gangs or terrorism. The man started his spree at midnight and then continued for several hours into the morning, wearing a black hoodie and a cap. Stabbing-related crimes have risen in England over the years, while gun crime is rare. U.S. Postmaster General Louis DeJoy is under scrutiny after former employees claimed they were pressured to donate thousands of dollars to the Republican GOP, after which they were rewarded in raises and large bonuses at the company. Encouraging donations is not illegal, but reimbursement of campaign contributions would violate state and federal election laws. Attorney General of North Carolina is calling for an investigation into the DeJoy alleged practices. Lou Brock, Hall of Fame baseball player, died at age 81, one of the best hitters and base stealers in baseball history. He played 16 seasons with the Cardinals and had 3,023 hits in his career. He began his career with the Chicago Cubs in 1961, and he was known for his vibrant smile and for being resilient. Nearly 300 protesters were arrested in Hong Kong on Sunday for unlawful assembly and loitering on the largest pro-democracy demonstration since China imposed a national security law in June. This Sunday was supposed to have been the day polls opened up for voting, but the city's leader had postponed the elections for a year, citing health concerns. Activists claim it is to keep power from changing hands. Activists are also being arrested in their homes for saying seditious comments and posting negative material about Hong Kong leadership on Facebook. Beijing is said to be using the COVID crisis to crack down on uprisings that have been going on since 2019. Marine Le Pen, leader of France's far-right national rally, has been pushing a narrative that her country is descending into savagery, painting a picture of a country under siege from a surge of mass violence from poor suburbs and mass migration. But critics argue that the problem of long-standing criminal activity from gangs of young men in the suburbs are from 3rd and 4th generation French citizens, not migrants. The false narrative being pushed, painting darker-skinned citizens as savage, is being called racist and false. French polls show 60% French people fear violence has grown in their country, but evidence actually shows it has fallen by half in the last 25 years. It is the perception that has changed, pushed by the far right's false narrative of growing savagery, in an effort to hurt President Macron's 2022 election bid. In 2016, 5 million Americans voted for third-party candidates. Experts think this group will be less in the 2020 election, as alienated voters may be coaxed into voting one way or another at the last minute. Progressive voters are being quite vocal about their dislike and inability to vote for either Biden or Trump, as they feel both candidates represent the same idealistic corporate politics. Some argue avoiding a Trump re-election is not enough incentive to vote for Biden. Bernie Sanders' support of Biden early on in the primary hasn't seemed to win over progressives. Some plan to withhold their vote to send a message to the centrist Democratic Party to not ignore their needs for future elections. In November 2018, when President Trump was under criticism for canceling a French cemetery visit for fallen Marines due to weather, he did not return to the U.S. empty-handed. While at the U.S. Ambassador 1842 historic residence in Paris, President Trump pointed out a bust of Benjamin Franklin as well as a painting and a set of Greek myth figurines. He insisted on taking them back to Washington, D.C. Ambassador Jamie McCourt was surprised by the request but did not object, so the $750,000 worth of art were loaded onto Air Force One. The art was deemed to be legit U.S. property, and so despite some pushback, the art move was approved. The figurines in display in the Oval Office are 20th century replicas by artist Luigi Avolio. The Benjamin Franklin bust and painting are also copies of originals. That's all for now, folks. To read more in depth on any of these topics, see the sources links in the description below. Subscribe to receive a daily news update video. Thank you for listening. Be relaxed, be informed, be connected.